Severe obesity can lead to joint pain and interfere with a person's ability to bend, lift, carry, and even walk. Undergoing bariatric surgery helps with weight loss, but can it also help alleviate joint pain and improve a person's overall physical function? A new study examined whether pain levels and physical function improved for patients after weight loss surgery.
This health tip is brought to you by
Desert View Hospital and Mountain Valley Physicians Group. Don't put your health on hold. We have time for you. Call us to schedule your appointment. 775-751-7100.
Earl McConnell had gastric bypass surgery 3 years ago after being diagnosed with diabetes.
I did have back problems. They told me I had to lose weight.
Now his diabetes is controlled, and so is his back pain.
It was definitely easier to get around, easier to get up and down off the floors, playing with my grandkids and going running around chasing them.
Patients come to bariatric surgery for all sorts of reasons. Some of them it may be their diabetes, but for many of them it's major health issues.
Most commonly knee and hip pain that prevents people from doing walking activities and other activities. Primarily in clinical practice, what I hear are concerns with joint function.
Doctors Anita Kirklis and Wendy King from the University of Pittsburgh and co-authors studied more than 2,200 bariatric surgery patients from 10 U.S. hospitals over a 4-year period. Patients filled out questionnaires about their pain and physical function before surgery and each year for 3 years after surgery. Patients also participated in a 400-meter walking test.
There was 50 to 70% improvement in pain and physical function at the 1-year time point, and then some continued improvements up to 3 years as well.
And although there's deterioration of improvement in some patients from 1 to 3 years, the majority still by 3 years are much better off than they were before surgery. With our objective walking test, we also saw that about a quarter of patients still had mobility deficits post-surgery. We looked at patients who had severe pain and disability in their hips and knees, indicative of osteoarthritis, and 3/4 of them had improvements in their hip and knee pain and function through 3 years of follow-up.
This sends the message that bariatric surgical procedures may have a big impact on people's ability to improve their physical function over time.
Earl maintains his weight loss and recently received praise from his cardiologist.
That's the first time I ever seen him smile, too, when I went in there after I had the gastric bypass done. I'm looking for a long, happy life and see the grandkids get married.
Catherine Dolf, The JAMA Report.
Younger patients, those with fewer depressive symptoms and a higher income pre-surgery, had a greater likelihood of improvements in their pain and function levels after surgery.
Well, Valley Electric Association held their annual meeting Saturday at Pahrump Valley High School.
Great meeting. We had 1,000 people go through the lunch line. So obviously we've had that many sitting in here. It was just another very successful meeting.
Lieutenant Governor Mark Hutchinson was here. He was a keynote speaker.
And Mark did a great job in laying out the goals of the state of Nevada, and of course then how Valley Electric fits in with that, with our communications, our fiber infrastructure, and building an additional leg on the economic stool for the state and our area. And so it was just a very good keynote address by Mr. Hutchinson, and then had Switch here also.
Yeah.
And
tell everybody about Switch.
Switch is a communications company that's headquartered in Vegas and Reno and is making large investments in communications infrastructure within our state and really allowing technology to continue to boom in our state. And so very proud that we're a partner with Switch on their endeavors also.
You concentrated that forward thinking with Valley Electric because you seem to be expanding and getting into so many different broadband, fiber optics, the community solar program, into the Creech Air Force Base, and helping out with so many different entities and really spreading and diversifying.
You know, diversity is in our portfolio is our success. It allows us to spread our fixed cost over a wider array, a wider base of new members, new consumers, new customers. And so that allows us to control cost, hold down cost, and mitigate any future adjustments. And so, but then it also allows us to continue on our philosophy, and that is that we're a service company. That first service happened to be electricity. and that service now is going to be in broadband, and it's in transmission, and it's serving other entities such as Creech and N2S2. And so, you know, thinking outside of the box has been our success and has allowed us to grow as we have during the worst recession in our country's history.
And as we head into our next break, this week's court report has the latest on the Nancy Lord case.
In this week's court report, controversy continues and court dates keep piling up for the local attorney facing 8 counts of animal abuse and neglect charges, including being over dog and cat limits and torture and cruelty to animals. Nancy Lord had a status hearing scheduled on Monday, but court clerks say that proceeding has now been moved to next Monday, May 2nd, and has been scheduled as a revocation hearing because officials in this Justice Court case are waiting on an answer for a case Lord also has in district court. Lord's neighbors on Peckstein Street say at one point Miss Lord had over 50 dogs on her property that were a public nuisance. A horse also died there, and dogs were reportedly seen eating that animal's remains. Justice Court clerks say Nancy Lord also has 3 other cases separate from the one now scheduled for a revocation hearing that were scheduled for a bench trial on Thursday, but court clerks say the bench trial for those cases was continued to May 17th because the judge granted a request for a one-time continuance. Charges Lord is facing in those 3 cases include animals running at large, dog and cat limits, cruelty to animals, and disturbing the peace. As part of a previous plea deal, Lord had agreed to relinquish ownership of her dogs to her domestic partner, Larry Moore, but he was also arrested. Court clerks say Moore took a plea deal on Thursday, pleading guilty to 4 counts of animals running at large, 1 count of cruelty to animals, and 1 count of limits of dogs and cats. Moore also received fines totaling $1,170. Lord's home and land were foreclosed on, and an outside investor purchased the property during an auction. While she was in custody, Lord was also ordered to vacate the premises within 6 days. That mandate also included anyone who was living there with her, like Moore. However, animal control reps told News 46 that Lord was seen on her property after her scheduled vacate date, and at least 15 dogs were reportedly seen with her there. Animal Control also says Moore, Lord's reported boyfriend, allegedly angered her recently by signing over at least a dozen dogs to Animal Control. Animal Control also says many of Lord's dogs remain on the loose throughout town, and some confirmed cases of parvo have been linked to animals on her property. Lord bailed out last Tuesday for $4,000 cash. Court clerks say Moore is also out on bail. He has a status hearing scheduled for October 12th. This has been your court report. I'm Eunette Gentry for News 46.